104.5 The Team ESPN Radio, your home for New York Jets football. This Sunday, of course, you can catch them on our sister station Q103, 103.5, 103.9. Coverage starts at noon, kickoff at 1. ESPN's own Rich Cimini joins us right now. No, Rich, with what happened last night at Gillette, should the Jets beat the Bills, they will be in sole possession of first place of the AFC East.
Yeah, file that under things you didn't expect to be talking about after week one. I was stunned last night. It was just you just don't expect a performance like that from the Patriots. I mean, offensively, defensively, they were just out of sorts. And one of the Jets or Bills could be in first place. And, of course, the Dolphins are not playing because of the hurricanes. So, yeah, crazy stuff.
Now, Rich, do you feel like you saw anything that the Patriots are actually vulnerable this year, or is this just a loss?
Well, the Chiefs are a good team, and their defensive coordinator, Bob Sutton, who used to be with the Jets, has always done a really good job of scheming against the Patriots. Tom Brady just did not have a good game. Shockingly, I didn't even know what his numbers were, but he missed some open receivers. They threw the ball long, a lot of deep balls for the Patriots, which surprised me. That's usually not their offense. But, yeah, I mean, you see some things. They weren't able to rush the passer. You thought that might be an issue with them going into the year. Levack retired. They cut Coney Ely, who the Jets picked up. They don't really have a great edge rusher, so that was a little bit of a problem. And, Tom Brady said after the game, I thought it was kind of a harsh but accurate criticism, is the team lacks some urgency. So maybe a little Super Bowl hangover there in New England.
Well, we'll switch it over now back to the New York Jets. You wrote an article recently discussing Todd Bowles and his status as the Jets coach. Is he facing the toughest challenge of any head coach in the NFL this season?
I do, because I think he has probably the worst roster of any coach in the league. The Jets, and this is not a news revelation here, they just took a wrecking ball to their roster in the offseason, and they're basically starting over. And, when you're starting over and you're in your third year as a head coach and you still haven't been to the playoffs, you're in a very precarious situation. So I'm real curious to see how he handles it. I don't think he's toast. I don't think he's done by any means. There are ways, if he can get this team to play for him, play competitively, play hard, play together, I think he has a chance of surviving. But boy, it's going to be really tough for this team to score points this year.
Rich Cimini with us right now on 104.5 The Team, your home for Jets football. Now, Rich, the Jets, some places have them like 9.5-point underdogs. Bills don't look that great to me. Why is this number so high?
Well, I guess that's where the bettors are going right now. Tyrod Taylor playing for the Bills, of course, I think it moved it up by a point or a point and a half. I usually don't get too much into the point spreads, but the Bills are at home. The place is going to be crazy. It's a new era for the Bills again. 2 years after Rex came in, promising big things. They have a different kind of coach now in Sean McDermott. I know the fans are excited. The Bills have a good rushing attack. They have a good offensive line. They have Shady McCoy, who's going to be the best player on the field. And they have Tyrod, who can do things outside the pocket. And they also have front four. So I think that's some of the reasons why the Bills are favored.
The last few years we've gone to training camp. We've talked to Rontez Miles. He suffered an injury. What's the latest with him?
Yeah, I actually talked to Rontez yesterday about that. He's not playing this week. I think there's a chance he may play next week, although I wouldn't bet on it. He just, in the second preseason game, he was describing it to me. He was covering a kick, and one of the Detroit blockers just put his thumb right, he doesn't think it was on purpose, put his thumb right through his face mask and just hit him right in the eye. Ooh. And anybody who's had an eye poke knows that can be uncomfortable. But for him, it was way beyond uncomfortable. I mean, he actually had blood pouring out of his eye. It turned out there was a fractured eye socket. It was fractured in two places. It wasn't feeling good after a few days, so he went to the doctors again and say, hey, look, this doesn't feel right. So they actually did some eye surgery on him. Yesterday, he's got a little bit of a shiner, under his eye, as you would expect, but he's relieved, he's feeling better, and he hopes to play next week.
We got Rich Cimini with us right now, of course, Jets insider for ESPN, ESPN.com on 104.5 The Team. Let's paint the picture, Rich. You know this team better than anybody. Can they win, and what's their best chance? What do the Jets need to do to beat the Bills?
They're going to have to run the ball and use both running backs, Matt Forte and Bilal Powell. They just can't, they just can't get into obvious passing situations. The Bills' front four, as I mentioned earlier, is good. They have Marcel Darius, who's a bit of a head case and an underachiever. We all know that, but he does give the Jets a lot of problems in their interior. They'll have a hard time blocking him. So the Jets cannot give those guys a chance to rush in obvious rushing situations. So they're going to have to get the ball in the hands of Powell and Forte. Another reason why, if you're looking for reasons, the Jets' new offensive coordinator is John Morton. He came from the Saints in the NFC South, and so you're thinking, well, what the heck does that have to do with anything? But the Bills are running a defense that is basically the Carolina Panthers defense. They got it from Sean McDermott. It's the exact same scheme. And so John Morton is very familiar with that. He knows how to attack it. So I think that could be a little bit of an advantage for the Jets scheme-wise. And they're just going to have to make a play on defense or special teams. A field position changing play maybe to get a gift touchdown, because I don't think the Jets offense is going to put up a lot of points.
Coach Morton hasn't called plays since 2010. I know it's going to be tough to kind of get a read on him, but percentage-wise, are we looking at like a 60-40 pass to run? Any feel on what that might look like?
Yeah, I think they want to be a running team, a ball control team. You have to play to what your strengths are. The best players on their offense are probably Bilal Powell and Matt Forte. They're two running backs. So I think they'll try to play to that. They're not going to take I'm not going to say they're not going to use a gadget play, but I don't think they're going to take a lot of chances. I don't think you want Josh McCown dropping back and throwing the ball 40 times. John Morton is obsessed with ball security. Now, I know every coach says that, they don't want to commit turnovers, but he has really taken it to a different level. He's been drilling it at these guys' heads. So I don't think they're going to take, put the ball at risk with unnecessary chances. I think it'll be a lot of short passes, a lot of running. I think it'll be a fairly conservative offense.
Rich Cimini with us before we let you go. I noticed your remark about the Jets taking gamesmanship to a new level and not revealing who their second-string QB is going to be. It's got to be Petty, right?
You would think it would be Petty based on the fact that he outplayed Hackenberg in the preseason. But I'm not willing to bet on that yet. I know everyone assumes it's going to be Petty, but just from watching practice, from the little practice we're allowed to watch, I'm just telling you, I wouldn't be shocked if it's Hackenberg. I mean, it's the way they were running some of their reps that we saw. Petty deserves it. I mean, if you ask me, I'd say it'll probably be Petty. But, if something were to happen to Josh McCown, who would you feel more comfortable with bringing into the game, Hackenberg or Petty? To me, it's a no-brainer. It's Petty. The guy's at least played in some games. He's had some success. But there's a weird feeling there. I just saw Hackenberg get some reps. So maybe I'm reading too much into that.
One way or another, it's definitely worth watching and listening to. Rich Cimini, we appreciate you making time for us. Of course, when you're learning about the Jets, Rich is the guy to listen to.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.